Welcome to A Pot of Wings and Filth, where two voracious fantasy readers dive into the magical, gritty, and sometimes downright filthy world of fantasy.
On this podcast, we chat about our favorite fantasy books, from dragons and magic to the dark and twisted corners of fantastical realms.
I'm Morgan, and I think that if your fantasy world has magic, talking creatures, and immortal beings, but no queer characters, you may have some biases to unpack.
And I'm Heather, and I have 20-year-old female main character fatigue.
We've got a lot of opinions, a lot of passion, and even more books to talk about. So grab your favorite brew, maybe a magical artifact or two, and join us as we get into all things magic, wings, and a little bit of filth.
Content warning. Expect spice, swearing, spoilers, and strong opinions on dubious character choices. This is an adult show meant to discuss adult things, unfiltered, and for an adult audience. Today's episode contains spoilers for all of the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King and the Serpent and the Wings of Night, aka the Nightborn Duet. So if you're not ready for unhinged fandom energy, turn back now. Otherwise, spread your wings, grow your horns, and let's get filthy. Hello, Morgan.
Hi! Oh, it's the final episode of Ashes! How are we here already?
I know. And at the same time, it feels like it took forever.
Yeah.
To get to the last section. I wait to read it right before the episode, so it stays pretty fresh in my brain. And it had been a little bit. It had been a minute, but I still slipped right back into it. Right back into it.
Yeah, rereading it last night in preparation for today, I was like heartbroken all over again. Like I've found there's no amount of rereading Carissa Broadbent's novels that makes them less heart-wrenching.
It has been an absolute joy. I love the story so much to start, and now I just appreciate it on so many more levels. And I already thought it was layered and was super impressed.
It's really beautiful and wonderful. Incredible.
Yeah. So how about you start with your beautiful summary for the final parts of the story?
All right, here we go. Part 6, Full Moon, hits us with a wild family reunion. Aunt Alia finally drops the lore. Oraya's mom, Alana, was a powerful seer, and Vincent was once able to actually love her until he stole baby Oraya and rewrote her entire life. Alia gifts Oraya a fun heirloom, some shiny jewelry that doubles as a map to Alarusa's temple, aka the stash of godblood everyone's killing each other over. When the final battle kicks off, Raihn throws himself at demon-powered Simon to buy Oraya time, while she trudges through Vincent's memories of power-hoarding, bad choices, and his twisted but real love for her and Alana. But when Simon fatally wounds Raihn, Oraya makes the ultimate anti-Vincent choice: love over power. She begs Nyaxia for a Coriatis bond to save him, gets brutally denied, and watches Nyaxia casually delete Simon instead. So she turns to Acacia, who finally grants the bond, tying her soul to Raihn's on the small print condition that they don't burn the world down with it. Well, I'm getting even choked up reading the summary. Part 7, Dawn, is the rebirth arc we've been waiting for. Oraya and Raihn crawl back from death, soul-bonded, double-heir-marked, and very much unstoppable. Their new power forces the Nightborn factions, and even some humans, to start uniting under one very unconventional royal couple. Cue the coronation. Nyaxia, grumpy as ever, begrudgingly blesses them during the New Year's festival. Meanwhile, Mische decides monarchy isn't her vibe, leaves the House of Night, and sets off on her own Shadowborn-adjacent destiny. And as for Oraya and Raihn, they end not on a throne, but in the human districts, celebrating like two feral kids who somehow became king and queen, and maybe finally earned their happily ever after.
So perfect. Okay, I know that we will circle back to this at the end, but I think what I really gained from these last two parts, and even just listening to your summary now, is kind of what the main theme is. And I think also why I love Oraya and I love Raihn so much, and I love this romance so much. Like this is just it for me. I think it's because the whole entire series is about choice.
Yes.
I love a fated mates. I am all about fated mates, but this is better. They choose
This is
each
better.
other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
choose their places in life and they choose to support each other. Everything's about people who didn't have choices for a long time. Both together get to choose their own paths, choose their own destiny, and choose it together. And at the end, when they do the bond.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I've got goosebumps. I've got goosebumps.
It's so heartbreaking. It is so heart-wrenching, and it is so beautiful. I think we've talked about how Carissa builds these romantic worlds, and this felt more romantic because of that choice. The first time, and I think it's about halfway through part 6, it's the first time that Oraya refers to Raihn as her husband, something she didn't actually get to choose but would have chosen, and then this was her choosing it all over again. Oh.
Well, I think it's so gratifying because of that.
Mhm.
It feels like, oh yes, we go on these journeys so many times and they are wonderful and horrible all at once and the ends feel satisfying. And I do love that we get happy endings. I am a person who does appreciate it when you give me the ugly ending too. I respect it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I need the happy endings.
I need the happy ending sometimes.
And this is one of the scenarios where it's not just handed on a silver plate to you. It feels so earned because they've been through so much.
Speaking of which, the one thing I didn't include in my summary, but I thought we might want to start with today is the final interlude from
Yeah.
Raihn's POV. That interlude is all about Raihn's journey to overthrowing Neculi. And the interested, or one of the many interesting pieces I find about this interlude in this flashback is that he gives Vincent his throne.
He's responsible for it.
It's just, we've talked about these mirrors, we've talked about these reflections, but these moments where you really, in making choices, sometimes like screw your own destiny or create your own destiny. So, as the slave who would never be thought of, who would never be considered as the betrayer, giving Vincent basically the keys to the kingdom to overthrow Neculi, and then Raihn being the one to overthrow Vincent, like, what?
He's directly responsible for two fallen kings. That's wild. Simon and Septimus, like those guys are after power as far as we know anyway. They're after
Mhm.
power and they are after control. That is not Rain. He just wants to be free. He never thought beyond it. And like you said with the mirrors, I think that's why particularly in this book because we get his point of view, we get to see so many of those choices bite him in the ass because he doesn't really think
Yeah.
through them. He just makes the best choice in the moment.
Right.
Which is why Oraya being there is really good because she thinks about everything.
She thinks about everything, which is from Vincent, right? Vincent taught her to analyze everything, to constantly be scanning. And so like it is just such a beautiful pair and match of like, how did you even think about this, Carissa? Like, I will say that a million more times. I just don't even understand where her brain comes from. It's magical.
Reading as a writer and reading as a reader, which are two different things, and I
Mm-hmm.
gain and enjoy them separately but differently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how she does it either way. And I would take a course to study her writing, to be honest. I sincerely mean it because it's that impressive. The way that she layers all of the emotional connections, the way she develops characters, and then adds depth to the world on top of it. Like, and there's real politics, there's real people, there's real structure. But then
Mm-hmm.
on top of all of that, she like is a mastermind of all of these tiny chess and set pieces that she puts all over the place and then
Mm-hmm.
later all connect together. I don't know how she does it. We say masterful sometimes, but I mean, I don't have a better word for it. I just don't.
I think the journey with Oraya meeting her Aunt Alia and the jewelry was one of those things I would have never in a million years thought at the beginning of Serpent when she casually mentions the ring that she wears on her hand, to think that that was going to come back and be an important piece a book and a half later, that was going to lead her to the god blood that her dad and her mom secretly magically hid in the middle of a bunch of ruins. What?
Yeah. So on top of all the political stuff, all the relationship stuff, all of the conniving that's going on as well, he we get like a side quest of mysteries to uncover. And I love how it's like full on, almost like Nancy Drew or Veronica Mars, stuff like that. It has like those kinds of like fun feelings to it. So you, in the midst of all this awfulness, you get to go on an adventure.
An adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love, but it is something that's continuous throughout all of it, though, is
Mhm.
finding the objects that are, and her blood is always connected, which I love, especially with the vampire theme. And it shifts gears too. So, me as a person who likes to try and figure out everything that's going on, I am way more of a passenger princess when it comes to Carissa books. I
Mhm.
don't
Because you just
figure,
have to be.
yeah, I ask the questions, but I'm not sitting there like actively trying to figure it out. And that's not my goal. Like, oh, I want to know. I want to know. I do want to know, but I am perfectly content with being present and just
Right.
there for the journey. And it's really fun.
Well, and I also think the emotion she lays into every moment, and some of these reveals are going to be, of course, more emotionally taxing than others. But because every moment is so steeped in beautiful, heart-wrenching emotion and romantic emotion, it you're excited to go on the adventure and you're excited to find out what comes next, but you have to feel what's in the moment. You can't skip ahead to the end of the adventure. You have to be present in every single emotionally like wrung out moment.
And that's the thing too. I don't have an issue with books that are dense. I think
No,
a lot of time when people use that term that they use it in kind of a negative way. I don't think that that's bad. And I feel like her books are very dense. You're not going to blow through them. So that's fine, but you should have a measured response and be ready for that. Otherwise, I don't think you're really going to be able to appreciate them. But they don't feel heavy. They don't feel long. You don't feel like you're rushing to the finish line either, but it's definitely a I am immersed. Like that's
right.
really full immersion, right?
Yeah, I think that's what's interesting about the conversation. These books and Carissa's books get put on a lot of book talk lists and bookstagram lists. If you loved A Court of Thorns and Roses, you'll love this. That is true to an extent, especially in that series. There is a lot of adventure, there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of beautiful journeying, but they're not the same. Carissa
No.
is different, and it's kind of hard to explain sometimes, but I wonder if sometimes people come to these books expecting something easier
Yeah.
almost than they are. I had someone I recommended this book to say, "You promised me vampire smut." I was like, "I did no such thing. I promised you a really good book about vampires. You assumed it was vampire smut. That's not what this is."
Oh,
They kept commenting. They were like, "Yeah, there's beautiful sex and romance in it, sure, but really this book is about Oraya grieving her father." And I was like, "Sure is."
I think you're right. It does get recommended a lot. And I understand kind of why it does too. I feel like if I was a book influencer, which I am not, if I was, I think I would probably feel compelled to include it often in those
Right.
categories because I want it to get more exposure, but I
Yeah, I want
don't.
people to read it.
Yeah, which is probably how I found it, to be honest. I think I did A Trial of a Sun Queen, which that is actually a good follow-up to any Sarah J. Maas. If you
I
like,
would agree with that. I would
yeah,
agree
if you
with
like
that.
Sarah J. Maas, you're gonna like Nisha. Nisha
Mhm.
J. Tooley is fantastic fun and very much so in the same universe. But I think this was right after that, and I did not expect what I got either, and I loved it so much because it was different. But I understand if you have different expectations going into
Right.
something and it's not what you thought.
Yeah, this is dark and gothic and romantic and
Yeah.
deep and layered. And don't get me wrong, Sarah does some very beautiful Easter egging and, this piece leads us to this piece and there's these plot intricacies and gorgeousness. Carissa just does it differently and I really just don't have a very eloquent way of explaining it. It's darker, it's more romantic, it's more about, I think, it's more about the emotion in every moment and the emotional ride you're going on more so than I think honestly anything else. Like the plot is all there and holy shit, the plot be plotting, but the romance and the emotion.
Yeah, it has all of those elements, but the core is the emotion and it's the characters. And I think, at least for me, I it's more important to me that you get the characters right than you get the story of the plot right.
Yeah.
I can easily overlook certain things if I'm invested in the characters. I have to say, though, I don't have that issue reading Carissa's books either. I don't
Never.
ask a lot of questions that I'm like, are you going to explain that? What is that? I also
I
don't
don't
feel
care.
like there's any, yeah, and I don't feel like I'm ever being manipulated for pacing, for
Right.
surprises. I don't feel like any of those things are at play when I'm reading her books. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm experiencing it all in a very honest, truth telling way.
I would agree with that. We talked about that a lot at the end of Serpent, where some people might feel like, oh, they got the rug pulled out. There's a lot of plot twists at the end of Serpent and these big reveals and these big betrayals. And a lot, we talked about that there are people who are like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like I just got pantsed. And it's like, no, 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 you weren't paying attention. And that's okay. Don't give a shitty review. Go back and reread it because you missed
Yeah.
some stuff. Those big reveals, while they are heartbreaking and awful and painful, but also the pain is part of the story. It's part of the experience. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I love these last two parts of Ashes, bringing us back to where we are going here. There are not many big reveals, even though we have just met Oraya's family for the first time. We've just met Alia. We've just met her husband, Jace. That moment when he walks in and he's tearful, he's this like big warrior dude, and he's like tearful. He's like, I never thought we'd ever see you again. I was like, and then he makes her the beautiful dual blades. Like, what?
And out of Vincent's sword! Out of Vincent's sword!
It's so beautiful. It's so fucking beautiful. And Raihn is just sort of like off in the corner observing. He does this beautiful boundary where he doesn't insert himself into those moments. They kneel before her and she's like,
No.
I don't know what to do with this. But actually, the end of this book is so beautifully wrapped up. It is a finish. It is closure. It is moving forward and through. And I just fucking love it. I love it so much.
I do too. And I think that's why it's important to understand if you read the first one. And after us going through it and deep diving and looking at all of these nuanced pieces, it's very clear that she knew what she was doing from beginning to start. You could not put this together the way she has unless she had it. There's just, you can't pants that way. I'm a pantser.
No.
I'm a pantser with discipline. I have my rules and then I stay in my box of chaos, which is also how I live life. So,
Sounds right.
yep, discipline here, and then all madness. So I can tell you right now that that's not something that you can just do. She
Mm-mm.
intentionally, especially just look at all the mirrors. And now we've seen, like you said too, this one is part of, embracing her vampire side, but also it's very much so healing. And I think
Yeah.
this was the final piece, her meeting
Mm,
her actual family, because that's how she started the story, right? She
right.
started it wanting to know about her human side, wanting to know where she came from, wanting to know who she was. So this the part that makes me laugh is I'm like, this is like the third time just in this book that she's like almost died and Rain has to take her away and save her. She's almost died so much. It's awesome. But
There is
especially
a
because
lot of borderline death that happens.
a lot, which is fair because a lot of really bad stuff happens. And she's half vampire, she's half human, so she's not going to heal as quickly as the rest of them. It makes sense, but it is also funny. It's so Wizard of Oz for me too. Like,
Yeah.
Rain's right there. Oh, this place looks familiar to me. How do I know it? It feels so good, but it's also simultaneously bittersweet because,
It is very bittersweet. I think that's a beautiful way to describe it, especially
yeah,
because uh Alia doesn't hold back her criticism of
no,
Vincent. And
no,
she could have, right? Like, how many maternal-esque characters do we get who kind of sugarcoat a dead person's experience, right? She tells the story. How did he come to find her mother? How did he come to maybe love her, it turns out? How did they come to be? How did we get here? And she does a really beautiful job telling the God's honest truth, right? I do think he loved her.
that is what Oraya wanted. And that's what we've been feeling this whole time too. I think we've had that same sense of conflict of, okay, we love Vincent in the way that he loved Oraya, but
Mhm.
also he's a monster.
He
And
is a
that
monster.
Yeah, and that duplicity never changes. they're beginning to end. And some questions are never fully answered, particularly Vincent once, because he's gone.
Mhm.
So, and there's no magical thing where he left a note or there's a list. And I fucking appreciate that. Thank
We
you
get a
so much,
little
Carissa.
we get a little tiny bit of that with the memories that she experiences
Yeah.
on her journey to the god blood, but it is very selective. It's not like a
No.
left manifesto. It's not like a letter
No,
or
and
something
that's
like that.
usually what it is. There's like something specific that's like, I knew this moment would come and I've left this for you. I mean, not to say
No,
I
because
hate it when that
he
happens.
never thought he was going to die. He thought he was
Yeah.
untouchable. He thought
And
that he had successfully neutralized her as his heir and completely forgot he might have other enemies who are more powerful than him and maybe falling in love with his daughter.
the arrogance of that is, which also that explains why he acted the way he did about her becoming allies with Rain.
Yes, but I don't think he knew. I think he had an inkling, but I don't think he knew.
At some point, I think that he knew who it was. I think after like one of the Kajari events, he saw them working together. So I think
Mhm.
at some point he does know that the person she's allied herself with is Rain. But I think she was just
Yes,
he was mostly of the
he's a
they're bad.
Rishon.
They're bad. Yeah, essentially
Yeah.
altogether, which he would do.
Well, and the irony is Jasmine is the one that tortures Rain during the Kajari. And if anyone was paying attention to those scars on his back, they would have actually known that he is the Rishon heir. I think if Vincent had seen them, I think if
He would
Vincent
have
had done
known.
any of that himself and not just pawned that off on his lackeys, he would have known. And instead, he overlooked it and totally missed it. And I find that kind of satisfying. Your own arrogance getting in the way. Mm-mm.
Well, that was his downfall entirely anyway. Even with
Mhm.
Oraya, the irony is he thought he was protecting himself by isolating her the way he did. He thought he
Mhm.
was controlling the environment. And yes, he loved her, but we also know that he showed his love in very unhealthy, selfish ways too. Because at the end of the day, he did pick himself before her.
He did.
He did often. So he really believed at this point, sending her there, that she would remain loyal to him. He's her only person. He is her it, which is
Mhm.
why he didn't want her to make any allies. Certainly
Right.
not a Rashawn one, and certainly not Rain. And the way that all turned around and backfired on him is
Well,
kind of
and
magnificent.
the mirror there too with her mother, right? He loved her, but it was all through this like power. He did not love her humanness. He did not love her humanity. He could not, which is so painful.
Gross.
And this was what Alia sort of didn't sanitize. She was like, I don't think he was capable of loving her fully for her most important parts, which were her humanity. But it doesn't mean I don't think he loved her. I do think he loved her. I just think he didn't love all of her and wasn't capable of loving all of her, which is just it's so real and beautiful. Um, but this mirror of, right, he agrees to let her go, right? Alana, her mother. They've been doing this work. Clearly, she's pregnant. I don't know why she thinks he doesn't know, but whatever, he doesn't know.
Seriously, especially with the smell. Like the smell.
Exact. And I want to believe she was just so scared that she couldn't
Yeah.
think rationally about that. Because if she had thought rationally about that for longer than 12 seconds, she would have been like, I'm cooked. Like, what? But he lets her go back to the human worlds, and she falls in love with another man. And basically who starts to raise Oraya as her stepfather, which is so beautiful that she had another safe father figure even for such a short period of time. And in letting her go, he realizes he can't. Like, eventually he just can't. And so he neutralizes it all, and this is the night he meets Oraya. And then he does the same thing with Oraya and Rain. He doesn't realize that the parts of her that are soft are the parts that are making her the most strong, and he's letting her go. He's letting her through the Kajari, but not realizing that it's going to be the thing that bites him in the ass.
He can't see anything past the one way of doing things.
Mm.
And because he's been doing it for centuries, and also it's worked out for him this far.
Yeah, he's pretty successful.
Yeah,
The longest standing Nightborn king, I think, a few times we hear.
Yep. And now fully understanding what the Coriolis bond is too.
Now I understand more Rain's big dramatic reaction when he
Yes!
found out that that was what Oraya was going to ask Nyaxia for. Holy shit! Can you imagine having that with your father? Why did he want that? I mean, I understand why he wanted it, but what the fuck?
Yeah, okay.
Blech.
For listeners, if you don't know, it's not like they can share a conscience and share thoughts and that kind of thing, or pick up on each other's emotions, but their souls are literally tied together. They are bound by each other. They can sense each other. The closeness of them is like this.
Pretty intimate. Again, it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous for Raihn and Oraya.
It would be fucking weird with your dad.
Care how close and healthy of a relationship you have with a parent, that would be weird. If you had to do it to save their lives, there should still be a pause.
Yeah, we should consider this a little bit
Like,
longer.
How long can I think about this?
Oh,
But it's interesting that he knew that that would be the eventuality, and he was okay with it though, which is the crazy part to me. I'm like, it would have made him stronger, sure, but
well, the only give I will give him, and it's real small, is that when Acacia grants the Coriatis bond and when Nyaxia denies it, there is a little bit of talk of how rare it is. Nyaxia is the only goddess who has ever granted one before, and basically it sounds like it's only been done once, like one singular time in thousands and thousands of years. So I want to believe maybe he didn't know just how intimate.
yeah, maybe he didn't have all the details. You're right. That's a good point.
That's all I'll give him. It's still weird.
It's
But that's
so
all.
weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. After I read it, I went, I forgot.
Uh-huh.
forgot that this is exactly what it is. Yeah. Nope. I think I'll pass on that one. That also proves with Oraya how little Vincent probably knew about it. We'll give him that. How little he probably knew about it. And he didn't tell Oraya anything. So she was just going to go into this bond completely blind, unknowing what she was promising forever.
I'm going to rewind us a little bit because we didn't even talk about all the memories in that tomb.
No.
It felt like a tomb to me.
That's exactly what it felt like. That's how I envisioned it in my mind. She was walking through a tomb.
Yeah.
It was a really beautiful and dark sequence. It kind of gave me some of that. There's this moment in Return of the Jedi where Luke has to go, and it's just like one of his final things that he has to go through, and it's basically facing his demons, and he goes through a dark tunnel. And it reminds me, in my head, it looks a bit like this, where before he eventually has to face his father, which is Vader, which is kind of what Oraya does here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The big bad guy's your dad. Sorry.
The big bad guy is your dad. He did some fucked up shit. And this is why this story is not just about smut in any way. This story is about grief and love.
Sex in it is just an expression of love.
Did you like the tent sex?
Tent sex for all of our audio listeners. Fuck yes. Okay.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
I remembered it being good. It was good. And it was different too. It's a bit more desperate because this above anything else feels like it is their last moment. Yeah. This could very well be the last time that they're together, and they need to express and show each other how they feel about each other. And it's very, very enthusiastic.
It's enthusiastic, and it's also so sensual.
Yeah.
Like this is lovemaking. This final one, this is lovemaking. She allows him basically to be on top in the most vulnerable position for her. She's like talking specifically about wanting his weight on top of her, wanting to feel him entirely. It's honestly really beautiful. I'm glad you brought up the like last night on Earth energy. There are some people I have heard and seen online who criticize this type of sex scene. And I don't get it because I truly think if you knew or potentially knew it was your last night on Earth, would you not want to bone the person you loved most in the world?
Oh my God, yes. In fact, if that's how I die, that would be a choice.
Right. Well,
would pick one.
I would pick that one. Yeah, exactly. There's something really interesting about. I think it is desperate, but I also think it's really beautiful. And I think some
Yeah.
people view it as like a cheapening. I just don't agree with it.
Sometimes when life really sucks, that is a wonderful way to feel alive.
Mm-hmm.
For a brief amount of time, it is, and for all of the reasons, yeah, if it's just like a random person, even then it can still be a moment
Yeah.
of joy in a dark time. But if it's someone you love and you care about and you've been through this long journey with, like this particular situation, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
could there be a better way to spend your potential final moments?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a vulnerable way to both communicate how you care about each other. And it
And
brings
remind each
pleasure.
other. It brings pleasure and to remind that we are still alive.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. It's primal. And I think that's why it can work
Mm-hmm.
sometimes with two people that don't know each other very well too. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, we have some chemistry. This is probably the moment to do this thing." But it's a very deep primal thing. And if you are connected to that part of yourself, which I deeply am, and are very, very interested by it in general with people and how it works its way into our daily lives.
I think they kind of ground this moment.
Mhm.
Like, there's so much happening. There's so much about to go down. The amount of suspense and tension building. We have the humans coming to join the army for the first time, which was just so, oh my God.
That I love that so much. I love the visual description she gives of the vampires blacking out the sky from flying and then
Mm,
underneath the humans marching.
mhm.
Almost like they're guardians, dark dark
Yeah.
guardians. I love that. I love the visual of that in my mind. It was
I
magnificent.
loved I loved so much of the imagery of all of this was just so beautiful. Um And it was really interesting also talking about mirrors. This is one that's just coming to me in the moment, actually. Right? We had Oraya below ground fighting her demons, which is her father. And we had Raihn above ground fighting his demons, which was Simon, this man who reminded him constantly, "You are a turned slave. You will never be anything better." And Vincent saying, "I did my best. Wasn't it good enough?" And she's like, "No, I have wings, and you didn't tell me I had wings."
I love the symbolism of that too. What do we say as humans often when we talk about grown children leaving the home? It's the bird leaving the
Mm,
nest, right?
yeah.
So he refused to let her have her wings to fly and
Mm.
leave the nest. I mean, I also love about that moment too that each of them are fighting separately. They both said goodbye. They trusted each other and they're like, you have to do your thing and I have to do mine because we can support each other and love each other. But at the end of the day, these are things we have to face on our own.
I loved that, especially because when they say goodbye and they're trusting each other, Rain says out loud, well, A, he says, "I love you" for the first time, which, ah! And then B, he says, "I wish I could do anything to prevent you from going in there." Like,
Yeah.
I can see how dark and scary it is. I wish there was anything I could say right now that would prevent you from going in there because it's so scary. I'm so scared for you. And
Yes.
then she turns around. She's through the threshold, but she turns around as he flies away into the horde of oncoming vampires. And she goes, "Oh, I get it. Because I wish there was anything I could say that would prevent you from going and doing that." And they have this beautiful moment where she's like, "Oh, fuck."
A lot of times too, when you get to this point in a story, you have everything like goes wrong and falls apart and they have to all come back from that. And that's not what happens here either. We've had a lot of that already. And it can develop you can develop a little bit of fatigue from the, oh, they went on
Mhm.
this mission and it didn't work out. Oh, now we're back to square one, or things are worse than when we started. If you continually do that, I love Sarah J. Moss, but sometimes she does that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Even Rebecca occasionally.
Yeah, agreed, agreed.
That
And
moment in
sometimes
Onyx Storm was defeating. Now, the point,
yes,
and she did it masterfully, but like one more failed excursion and I was ready to chuck that book across the room.
exactly. It's knowing when to draw the line with it. And I think that Carissa does a really good job of that
Uh,
too, of where we experienced it quite a bit here. I mean, in this book alone, there were moments of, oh, we got the team together now. We banded together and we show up and everything goes sideways. And then they have to go
yeah.
through the poop tunnels and I mean,
So bad.
I know. There was a lot of escaping and having to come back, but I also like the narrative of that of no, they're not just going to get it on the first try. And no, it didn't go the way they
No.
wanted. And yes, they are in a bad place. But what do they do every single time? They regroup and they come back and they always keep fighting because it's worth
Right.
fighting for. And
Right.
I love that. So when we get to this final part here, we don't have any more of that. It is the final battle. And I do love the fight between Simon and Rain. I like being inside Rain's mind. It is a
Me
fun place to be.
too.
Yeah,
It's a fun
right?
place to be. And he is as green flag on the inside as you think he is on the outside.
Yes, he's absolutely imperfect, but he's very self-aware. So he's not as
Mhm.
broody as some of these other guys. And I love myself a broody man, but I love that Rain
No.
is not. I love
Uh-huh.
that Rain is not. And you can see where his confidence lives too, especially when it comes
Yeah.
to fighting, which makes that lot of fun because Oraya looks at things very strategically, even if she's in a fight sequence, if she's in the tomb scene with Vincent, even there,
Mhm.
she's very, very analytical about the way she kind of takes everything in. Rain is more reactionary and powerful and confident about what he's going to do. And I love the dichotomy of that too, but it makes being with Rain kind of like, whoo, yeah, I'm here. I'm Rain today. I can do some shit.
Well, it's interesting because this battle is gruesome. Simon should have died 1,000 times over based on the way Rain is battling him, but because of the god tooth basically seared into his skin, he is being held up together like a puppet on a string. Um, which I think found kind of, even though it was gross and gruesome, kind of satisfying that he does hold on to some of that bigotry and that hatred. Because otherwise, I would have felt too much empathy for Simon. Like, he says some
Yeah.
nasty stuff to Rain about being a turned slave and about some of these pieces. And I was like, oh, I needed you to still be a dick like that. Because otherwise, I would have been just sad for you that you had been turned into this weird monster. But some of it was you were already a monster. It was just amplified. But being in Rain's head and going through this battle sequence, you are with him when his arms stop working and his legs stop working and they slam into the ground enough that he loses consciousness for 30 seconds to a minute. Who knows how long? It is visceral. It is real. It is intense. And honestly, it's really beautiful. Like the
Yeah.
amount of, I don't know, there's something about being so close up when he chooses to die again for her, I think. Because
Hmm.
we didn't get his POV other than in the interlude at the beginning of this book. We didn't get his POV when he drove his own knife with her hand around it into his own chest at the end of the Kajari. But this is virtually that again, but he's choosing to die for her, for their cause, for their, like, for the good of the realm kind of thing. Oh,
Self-sacrifice is beautiful when it's done right. With Rain, it's 100% done right, where he should have been dead. He beat Simon. He beat him
yeah,
over and over again. He
time
was
and
better
time
than him.
again. Mhm.
He bested him, and even his best was not enough in the sequence. He's basically buying time. Also, do we really know the first time that he's going to survive? I didn't know if he'd
No.
make it or not. I didn't know if they'd both die because I know that was my first Carissa read. If you're going to let the main characters or you're going to let a bunch of the cast when there's big fights like this survive, you have to make them lose something
Yeah.
important along the way. And and a lot has been lost already. So
Go
feeling defeated with Rain and going, "Oh my gosh, he's dead." Even if we're sitting there going, "Okay, she could save him. She could do something. There's something that can be done." There's still
Yeah.
that one sense of loss and grief. So when she does do the Coriolis and when he is resurrected again, it's a mirror to the end of the first book. But
Oh,
this
but it's
one,
different.
it is
Oh,
different. It is very different. And because we know it's the end of their story, it's like maybe the villain origin story of Araya because she couldn't save Rain.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Because there's potential
and
for that too.
absolutely, right? Like, we could have had a Nyaxia mirror in that moment
Yes. Yes.
where actually she became the villain because Rain actually does die. Every time I read those scenes with Nyaxia, I'm like, girl, how do you not see that you're the problem? Like,
Right?
she keeps saying, like, oh, a dead lover never breaks your heart. Are you sure? Because it seems
Because you're
like your
pretty
heart.
heartbroken.
You seem pretty fucking heartbroken. It seems like it's not getting better for you, and it's been thousands of years. Like, and Araya's like, oh, girl, you are oozing trauma. And Oraya, is able to offer her love and is able to be human in that, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah, she
But
even points out that her situation is similar to Nyaxia. She's like, you know how I feel, right? You've experienced this. And Nyaxia's like, meh. Like you said,
well,
meh.
a dead lover never breaks your heart. I
Yeah.
disagree. As it turns out, my heart is broken no matter what. She even says, like, you should have let him die the first time. And it's like, no. But then we have like this tiniest little sliver of hope for Nyaxia, because she goes, I will not grant a Coriatis bond. She doesn't say you can't get one. It's not possible. She just says, I will not grant it. And then she pieces out. And I think she left that door open on purpose for Oraya to ask the other god.
Yeah. Because I think deep down, Oraya got to her to
Mhm.
some degree, as much as you can. But she's still cruel enough that she's like, no, I'm not going to do this for you. Also, bad PR for me. I've got this whole villain thing going on. If I do this, people are going to think that I'm going to come down and grant fucking wishes. So let somebody else do it while I do my evil bad queen shit over here.
Well, I think that's it, right? Like, she is the
Yeah.
only god who has, or goddess, who has granted this bond before, which is why Oraya thought to call on her, and then realizes, oh, I have access to my mother's goddess, Acacia, who is creepy. She's the weaver of fates.
Yeah. She scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh, Nyaxia is bad, but I can deal with that kind of bad.
She had these 6 wings, and in each wing is like a window pane to a different fate, a different world. Who thinks of this stuff? Oh my God! This is the other reason why I think it is so cool to read the standalones in this series. And I know we're not deep diving the standalones, but I do recommend y'all read them if you haven't, because you get these glimpses into these other gods and these other worlds and these other, like, priesthoods and things. So you get to understand the depth of all of these different gods. I think it's in Slaying the Vampire Conqueror,
Yeah.
where the main character is an acolyte of Acacia.
Yes.
And so we interact with Acacia a little bit more in that story. But oh my God, seeing her here, it's like, holy fucking shit.
Even though we've only seen Nyaxia briefly once, we constantly
Mhm.
talk about her in these 2 books. We don't talk about this goddess that much, and really until the end. And she is only on page briefly, and she has this huge impact. And I think, again, that's why I keep going back to Carissa writing such brilliant characters, because if you can define a character that briefly and make us connect to them, then you're doing it right. Because in most stories, if you get that last minute villain.
Yeah. Well, even like magical savior.
Yeah. Oh, this is kind of like ex machina type stuff going on, but you don't get that feeling at all. You don't feel like you're having the rug pulled out from underneath you either. Then you
Right.
have these visuals of what she looks like physically, and then her behavior. She's like you kind of expect after Nyaxia that you're going to get a goddess who's like, oh yes, I will come and grant this bond to you. No, she's fucking formidable too.
She's terrifying.
Just terrifying. Yeah. She's
Well,
just as terrifying.
Acacia challenges her and is like, if I grant you this, like, I am granting you intense power. I am connecting these 2 lines. I am rewriting fate, right? That's no simple thing. Are you going to take it fucking seriously?
Yeah.
And Oraya's like, yeah. And even, I think, pauses for a moment to be like, oh yeah, that is intense, that thing I'm asking you to do. I should think about that for a second. And then she does, and she's like, yep, no, if anyone can do it, it's me and him.
I love that their air marks change. I love that so.
Why is it so beautiful?
It shows the unification. We already felt it. We already know it exists, but it's the physical representation of it. The air marks at this point have represented so many awful, dark things. Raihn burned his back to get rid of his. Oraya hid hers because it made her more vulnerable. It made her a target. So
Mm.
now it represents something else totally and completely different. And it's hope for a better future for them all. I
It
mean,
is. And the scene, the scene when they're looking at each other's air marks is so, I have to laugh because it's so fucking funny. It is
because
the
it's
most
dude, where's
beautiful.
my car?
Well, it's dude, where's my car? And then Mische walks in and Oraya's tits are.
Can you lock the door?
It's so funny. The comedic relief of that moment is so perfect. We have just gone through just the absolute mud and intensity and the heaviness of this battle and these goddesses and this bond, and they've woken up and they've come back to life basically, and they're starting to realize what their bond means. She's like, I can feel his heartbeat race because it's my heartbeat, because I can feel my heartbeat. It's so beautiful.
I
Oh my
love
God.
that.
But then they realize, she's looking at Raihn shirtless and her air mark is on his chest, and turns around and his air mark is on the back. And so she looks at her. She's wearing like a little tank top camisole, and she turns around to look at the back, and he has her straps pulled down. So obviously she's tits out to the world, and she's
Says
looking in the
tits.
mirror
Literally.
to look at her new air mark on her back, and Mische walks in and goes, Will you've been awake for 30 fucking seconds. Will you at least lock the fucking door?
No, not those two anyway.
And it wasn't even a sexual moment, right? Like at all. But
It was
it was that like sibling goofiness that Mische always brings to those moments. And also we needed a laugh. We needed a silly. We needed
oh yeah.
something light. And it was perfection. It was truly perfect. I love Mische in those moments so much.
I do too. And I think that's something else that, I mean, these stories are not funny. Humor is not a huge,
Mm-mm.
huge part of them, but there is humor and there's different kinds of humor and it's well and appropriate timed. So
Mm.
when you have a moment like this, like Mische is always going to be the silly kind of like more levity to the humor. And Rain is just funny.
He's
Yeah,
witty,
he's got a sharp tongue. And Araya's funny when she's not trying to be.
but also not from like a ignorance or a stupidity thing either,
No,
right? Because
no.
she's certainly not stupid. She's so smart. But
It's very
mm,
cute and funny, but the humor does land appropriately. And especially when you have a story as dark as this, you have to be really, really careful with how it's done. And this was perfect. We are at the end. All of it is over.
yeah,
And besides, whenever I picture her anyway, Misha walking into a room, it's just like sunlight. It's like everything
yeah,
kind of brightens anyway. So
I would agree with that. I would agree with that completely. Which I think is also a really beautiful setup for me. The next duet, which is the Shadowborn duet, we get Misha's story. And so we find at the end of this New Year's festival, this coronation experience, that Mische is not staying, and talk about another really funny and cute and also very realistic relational dynamic thing that happens where she tells Oraya, and then when Raihn figures it out naturally on his own, she goes, Why did she tell you? And he goes, Why do I have to ask my wife to find out things about my best friend?
yes.
And it's like, yeah, that's like a whole thing that can happen in like triad relationships, is like people triangulate and forget that you have individual relationships with each other. We also get a really good hint. There's a scene where they go down to the dungeons to meet with Karis. They show him their air marks, and he is like blown away. He's like, I didn't think it was possible, which, to be fair, it wasn't. They did the impossible. So he genuinely thought he was doing the right thing, which I can understand. We do the wrong things all the time thinking we're doing the right ones. And instead of killing him or executing him, they send him to this vampire jail where we're going in the next story.
To piggyback that as well,
Mm-hmm.
we should also note that Septimus, the shitbag, scampered away when things went south also. So
Where the
Septimus is
fuck is
now
Septimus?
he left with his bloodborne friends once things no longer started going his way. So we still, at the end of this story, don't really know what his intentions. I mean, as far as we can see, it might just seem like he's an agent of chaos, but I think this was all too in-depthly orchestrated. The planning that went into this wasn't something that he just came up with, even though he's slick and smart and charming. He didn't just come up with this like a week before the Kajari and go, I'm going to start putting some stuff together because I want to
Right.
mess some people's lives up. This is something that he had in the works and been planning for a very long time, and we still
I
don't
think
know why.
even centuries we're led to believe, right? Like we get the scene where he's telling the story to Oraya and you
Yeah.
come to realize it is his story. And so I think where they begged Nyaxia to lift the curse on the Bloodborne, and she said no. So there's more there. There's so many question marks, but I think they're well laid. They're not, oh shit, I don't know anything. It's like, oh, I have
Yeah.
an inkling, but I don't know enough to like know what's happening. Also, Carissa has released a few little snippets of The Lion and the Deathless Dark, which is the first of the Bloodborne duet, and it is going to be Septimus's story.
So that is crazy, right?
Yes.
Septimus being away is what he's done through the whole entire duology. I am dying to get inside his head. Characters like that can be the most fun. Sometimes they're fun.
Yeah,
They're really fun to read, but they can be really, really fun to write too. There's a freedom about them. There,
sure.
there
Yeah,
is a freedom about not having to follow the rules or the same line of morality that everybody else does. And
right.
it's it's different, and so it's kind of exciting too. So I am so looking forward to that, and also, how are you
I
going to
am.
make me like him? How are you
I
gonna do it?
know. I know. How are you going to
Empathy.
redeem him? Will he be
Yeah.
redeemable? I don't know.
I love a redemption arc. I don't know about you, but I
Oh,
love.
yeah, of course. My like optimist, idealist heart absolutely wants to know that Septimus has a redemption arc. Right now, at the end of Ashes, fuck that guy.
100%, 100%, but I believe if anybody can do it, it's
It's
100%
Carissa.
Carissa, because
That's true.
I in all of her books, there are characters that I have loathed and
Mm-hmm.
hated and just wanted to be nothing but monsters, and she makes
That's
me
true.
feel for them. She has made me feel for them. Some she leaves as just monsters. He
Yeah,
does.
which is important because not everyone deserves a redemption arc, right? Like
Exactly.
I make this argument for anyone out there who's watched Ted Lasso. Patrick and I are big fucking Ted Lasso fans, and I won't spoil anything, but the end of season 3, the way it wraps up, everyone gets an arc. Everyone gets not necessarily a redemption arc, but everyone's story gets completed in one way, shape, or form, and they get the one they deserve. And I
I
fucking
love it.
love that. So it doesn't mean that the bad guy gets a redemption arc. It means he got an arc that he deserved. I'm curious, as we are coming to the end of our final deep dive of Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, your copy does not have the bonus chapter that my copy has.
Yeah.
And
I'm very excited about this.
mine is the Barnes & Noble new Bramble release. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this bonus chapter because it is so beautiful. So it is the first time that Raihn goes down into the tomb, the temple. And basically they're finding a place to put the last pieces of all of the bits that they found of the gods in a place where they will
Oh,
never be found again. So there are these tiny little shreds of the tooth that got ripped out of Simon. There were like parts of the steel that were in the, they didn't want anyone getting their hands on any of this. And it is Raihn giving part of himself to the lock to seal those bits of the god away. And the memory that he puts in it, right? So you have to share a piece of your soul, and it's supposed to be this big emotional thing. The memory that he puts in it with his blood, I'm just like, I'm just a river of tears at this point, is the moment he fell in love with Oraya. I'm a wreck. In the third trial, when they share the mind link, oh, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. And it's the moment where he says fear is the key. Like he can hear her saying fear is just a collection of physical responses. She's about to get
yeah.
eaten by the demons or whatever. And it's the moment that he realizes he has fallen in love with her.
Oh,
And he's watching her with her night fire come up the little hill or whatever, and he embraces her, and he goes, I didn't even mean to do it. And it's so stunning. It is so beautiful. Oh, and
Goodness. Oh
right,
my
so he's giving this
goodness.
memory. She's there with him in the temple, so she gets to see him. She's also a wreck. And she goes, really? That's the one you pick? And she goes, you're a sap. And grumbles at him. It's
There's
so
so much.
Oh, it's so beautiful. But
Oh.
basically, they each leave a part of themselves in this lock because there's different levels to it. And the story ends with her about to give a part. And she asks the question, the final lines. Oh, God, they're so gorgeous. It says, Rain's free hand fell over mine, tilting his face to kiss my palm before we let them fall intertwined at our side. And what about you, princess? He asked. What are you going to give it? I slid my bloodied hand across the stone, leaving a trail of red pooling in the recessed carvings. What wouldn't I give it for my kingdom? For my husband? I closed my eyes, wove Rain's fingers between mine, and made my offering.
I'm sorry, I'm quiet because I'm crying.
It's so perfect. It is so perfect. I love it so much.
So beautiful.
And it is her really stepping fully into her power, right? Like, I am queen. We are doing this together. This is chosen, right? Like
This is
that choice
yeah.
piece.
I love this so much. And this is why Carissa, like when I'm comparing different authors and kind of tropes and stuff to Carissa, it's not to say that I don't like those things. It's just why she's kind of up a level for me from a lot of other authors, even when I love very much, I think do a wonderful job at what they do. It's stuff like this. Usually when you get a bonus chapter, it's like Morgan and I talked about. It's like, oh, we've jumped 2 years into the future and someone's pregnant, or there's a marriage, or there's a smutty scene, which I mean, all of those are fine. Those
I
are
would
all
take a
fine.
smutty scene over a pregnancy.
I just our characters having babies. I don't hate that. I just hate that is the end note. And
Mhm.
not only here, I love this so much for so many reasons. This is gorgeous closure. So we're tying up another loose end. So there's purpose to it. It's not
Mhm.
just I'm giving you a little bit more. There's actual purpose here. But
Mhm.
it's another moment to see after all the aftermath that the two of them, like you said, she's really stepping into her power. They are the
Mhm.
same. And I love so much that you get to see the moment he fell in love with her, because that
Yeah.
was one of the things that I thought, oh, he's at the very least, he liked her immediately from the start. He probably didn't want to,
No,
but it
he
was very,
fell first
yes,
hard.
he fell hard first, but that being the moment, and that moment for us too, when we were talking about it on the pod, we were melting down because it's such a great, beautiful, gorgeous, vulnerable moment, and they're like really seeing each other and they can't
Hmm.
hide from it. Oh my God. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is
It's
why
so
Carissa is,
beautiful.
yeah, this is why Carissa's it for me. She's my girl.
I've been joking, and some of the authors we've read recently have also made this list for me now, but like must buy. Like,
Yeah.
if you buy it, or sorry, if you write it, I will buy it. I don't care what it is. You could tell me it's a weird fucking sentient door. Like, I don't care. You write it, I'm buying it. Carissa could publish her grocery lists and I would buy them. She
I'm
is
okay
a
with you.
must buy author to me. She is God tier. Absolutely.
I think I've had a lot over the years that have been extremely influential to me, ones that have impacted me deeply and profoundly. And especially since I started this romantasy journey, she's my number one in this, specifically in this genre. She's absolutely my number one. And that's not taking anything away from some of the other really great ones out there right
Oh,
now.
no, of course not.
But even comparatively to the authors that I've fallen in love with growing up, she's right there with them, and I don't see that changing. But I'm
No,
100% with you. If she's writing something, I'm
I'm buying
buying
it.
it.
And I will buy it in different copies. I will buy it like, great, amazing. Give me 14 of them. Like,
I know.
I just
I
will.
I want to go get all the special ones. I really need to have the bonus chapter now. I need to read it.
It's really
My
good.
God.
It's
Oh
so
my God. I
beautiful.
kind of like that you talked about it on here and I got to find out about it that way, though. That was kind of fun.
I was going to say, I still want you to go read it for yourself. I'm hoping everyone at home had enough warning if they didn't want spoilers for the bonus chapter that they could click away. Speaking of God tier authors and the things that they write, who are your top 3 romantasy heroines?
This I don't have a crazy long list. I have a few honorable mentions, but
Same.
here we go. Top 3. Number 3, Diana from the Book of Azrael. Diana is my girl. Like, if you want a dark female lead who is not morally gray, she's morally black, but also has the heart of gold.
No.
Very circumstantial, then you will love Diana. She's a badass. I love her. She's my number 3. Number 2 is Aelin, all day long. I loved her from the first scene I saw her in. I love her bravado. I love the way she thinks. I love the way she acts. She's fucking it for me. And number 1 is Oraya.
Yeah.
It's Oraya. I love her. She's smart. She's capable. I mean, we've gone over many episodes about why we love her so much. She's all the things that I love in a female character. She's strong, but she's also vulnerable. And she learns and evolves as things change around her. I just love her so much. I love her.
That's an excellent list. Yeah. Some of ours are similar. And I have a tie for part 2 because I couldn't help myself.
Fair.
I wrote it once and then I put the list down and then I had to come back to it because I was like, no, that's not right. So number 3, this will not be surprising to you. Bryce Quinlan, Crescent City. Bryce is my girl, man. I know a lot of people had a lot of things to say about her in House of Flame and Shadow, but Bryce Quinlan and the vacuum scene at the end of House of Earth and Blood just solidified it for me. That girl is one. I won't spoil anything more, but if you know, you know. Okay, 2, and I had a tie for 2. So I had Oraya, Crowns of Nyaxia, of course, and Aelin, Ash River, Galathinius, Throne of Glass. They just encapsulate that intelligent, brave, powerful, fiery woman, and I fucking love it. And number 1, Violet Sorrengail, the Empyrean series.
Love it.
I love Violet. I read Violet and I see myself a lot. Like, she is that nerdy, she's pretty shrewd. Like, she really is quite, I don't know, she's always so aware, and I really fucking love her. And she doesn't let anyone give her shit, and not even just
she's
in
very
a
confident.
Yeah, she's confident in herself.
Yes.
And it's not even just cocky in my strength or overly, arrogant or anything like that. She's a powerful fucking woman and I love her.
She's great.
All right.
That's an excellent pick. All right.
Tell me your honorable mentions. I have a few.
Yep. Bryce Quinlan, Crescent City. Violet Sorrengail, Fourth Wing. I love Violet for the same reasons you do. I love being, look at all of our characters, all of our female characters that we're going to pick, I know are going to be intelligent. we like smart women, okay?
Yeah.
What can I say?
Because they're not novel. Just to be clear, smart women are not novel. We're not new. We've been around a while. Get used to it. Anyways, that's my rant.
Yep. And then Lore from Ouroboros, the Trial of the Sun Queen series that you all are probably aware of now. I also picked Thea from the Blood of Steel, Legends of Thesmar. Thea is probably one of the characters that I related to the most. I have made a lot of connections to her in general, and it was really, really, it was kind of great to feel that on page. Plus, she's fun. She's a lot of fun.
She is fun.
And then my last 2 are Ciri and Yennefer from the Witcher series. Yennefer is wonderful, powerful, brilliant, smart, shrewd witch who doesn't take shit in a world that is mostly ran by men. And Ciri is a warrior in that series who is also a chosen one. And she is also adopted by her daddy, Geralt, who is also wonderful. And he raises her in this miserable world, trying to keep her safe from everything that's trying to kill her. But you get to watch her actually grow up into a woman, and it's really, really enjoyable. I love them.
Cool. Also, formal apologies for any listeners whose Apple products just lit up when she said that. You and I had a few similars, and also I had a couple extras that you didn't list, and I'm surprised that one didn't make your list. So I had Thea, Legends of Thesmar, talk about female rage encapsulated in the most perfect and imperfect being. I fucking loved her. I had Saris, Quicksilver.
Oh, yeah. She's awesome. I love her.
She's incredible. I also had Lore, Artifacts of Oranos. She's a smartass in the best way. And I love how humbled she gets through that story. And the humbling is what helped her step into her power. It's just beautiful. It's really well done. I had Payton, Powerless. I may have had feelings about how that trilogy ended. And then last but certainly not least, honestly, if we had done top 5, she would have made my top 5. I had Tisana, War of Lost Hearts.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's
another
ridiculous.
Carissa heroine. She's incredible.
Wonderful. Oh,
her
my gosh.
story, I mean, honestly, just her journey from not just innocence in a lack of understanding way, but like true innocence of the world.
Yeah, naivete.
Yeah, but like it's deep because she's not naive about the horrors of the world. She's actually naive about some of the beauty of the world. And which, of course, she's a slave, just to be clear. Like, she should not know, it fits her story so beautifully. But man, when she steps into her power, it's incredible. And her story with Maxentarius Farleon, one of my favorite book boyfriends of all time, is incredible. It's just Tisana's next fucking level. And of course, she's a Carissa heroine, so that makes sense.
She, I think, is probably one of the best balanced characters of showing how you can be strong and vulnerable at the same time.
Yes.
I think she's probably one of the best examples of that exists, honestly.
Yeah, because she wears her heart on her sleeve in the biggest way, but it is beautiful.
Yep, and she still doesn't take shit from anybody, and she's another smart one, too. And she has this, like, inner determination and strength of will that is just, it's ironclad. It's impressive. She is a dynamic character. That was an excellent choice. I am a little bit ashamed that I did not put her on my list. But I'm glad you got her.
We've read so many books. I mean, it was a journey to select only 3 for the top. Okay. Heather, tell us all what you're reading right now.
Ooh. So I decided I'm in a little bit of a romanticy slump. So I'm trying some new weird stuff. And I heard this was an absolute mindfuck. It's called Piranesi.
Huh?
By Susanna Clark. And literally what I've read from everyone who's recommended it, which is read it. It's amazing. Also, you're not going to understand it until you get to the end, and that's okay. Which for me was like a calling. I'm like, cool. All right. I would like to be just lost for a while. Sure. Why not? Let's see how it goes. So, so I will be back with that eventually. What are you reading right now?
It's funny you talk about being lost until the very end. I'm picking up next The Quiet Room because by Terry Miles. It's sci-fi because I just ripped through the first one, which is called Rabbits.
Oh, this is the second one in the series?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Holy fucking shit. I burned through this in 24 hours. It's been a minute. I still don't know how.
And you're busy right now.
My life is very full right now. The best description I have for Rabbits and this story, and I'm really excited to get into The Quiet Room based on where this ends. Holy fuck. Is if Ready Player One and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow had a baby.
That's interesting.
And also at the end, they allude in the acknowledgement that there are parts of this story that are true. And I don't know how to reconcile a sci-fi book like this having true elements in it. Like, it makes me question the world around. I felt a little paranoid yesterday when I finished it. I was like, well,
I love
what do you mean Rabbits is real? It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. So I'm super excited. We'll be back next time with our buddy read of V.E. Schwab's Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil.
And that's been our show. Stay filthy. Your host Producers and audio sorceresses are Heather Baxendale and Morgan DeRocher, who somehow make the show happen with a combination of enthusiasm and emotional damage. Our theme music is Magistar by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. You can find A Pod of Wings and Filth on all major streaming platforms, and our home base is at Podomatic. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at A Pod of Wings and Filth for updates and fun content. And don't forget to check out the show notes for important links. If you're loving the pod, please give us a follow or drop us a rating. Your support keeps the magic alive and helps other romantasy readers find us.